Delighted to say now, joined by former Ireland international Paddy Mulligan to look back on part of your club career. Now, Paddy, when you were in with us last season, we were talking about Ireland, but we're going to look at Chelsea. So you joined Chelsea in 1969. You were playing for Shamrock Rovers, and a good Rovers team as well. Obviously, all the 6 in a row. I know you were part of that squad, but before that, you were actually in America as well, weren't you?
Yeah, I went to the States in 68 to see if I would. Boston Beacons. We were over there on tour with Shamrock Rovers in 67. Yeah. And we were based in Boston for about 7 weeks. We played all over and up in Vancouver in Canada as well. They were trying to relaunch professional soccer in the States at that time. So clubs from all over the world were invited over, and we were lucky enough to be invited over. And it was a fabulous 7 weeks, and it was sort of you were full time. And that's what you liked. And I got the graw then for that. And there was an offer coming in from Boston Beacons.
Yeah.
And I went back over then the following March the 6th, 1968.
Yeah.
Flew out after we beat Shelbourne in an FAI Cup match 1-0 on the Sunday. And I spent 6 months there. The league folded, unfortunately, after the 6 months. But it was a very, very enjoyable 6 months. And then I really thought to myself, yeah, I'd like to have a go with this, and I wonder could I get myself to England. My parents had refused to let me go to England earlier on because of my age and so on, and they wanted me to finish education, and that was fine. I didn't have any issue with that at all, because I was enjoying my football at Shamrock Rovers so much. We had a great squad of players. We were great camaraderie, and still is even to this day with a lot of the players at Rovers. So I had great times, very successful times. 6 cups in succession, league, everything. League, Shield, President's Cup, Leinster Senior Cup, City Cup, everything.
Huge crowds going to watch you as well.
Huge crowds, 30,000. I mean, I remember we played Bowes in a President's Cup final in 66 in Delhi, and there was 27,000 people at the game. And we were leading 2-0, and Bowes came back to beat us 3-2. But Turlock O'Connor still keeps reminding me of that. But however, so the times that we had in Milltown were absolutely fabulous.
Yeah. So you wanted to get over to England. Before you actually moved to Chelsea, there was an offer from Everton. So it looked like you were going to sign for Everton.
Yes, and I might have signed for Everton if Harry Catterick had been more courteous towards me. But I flew over.
He's the Everton manager.
The Everton manager. I flew over on the Friday morning, and Mr. Harry Cook, the chief scout at Everton, met me at the airport in Liverpool. And we went to the training ground, and I played against Everton a few times in friendly games for Rovers. And I went to the training ground, and Brian LeBon came over to me, and Joe Ryle, and Colin Harvey, Howard Kennel came over. Do the best deal you can, and good luck, and great to see you here. So I said, these are great lads.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I didn't think they'd recognise me.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, thanks lads very much indeed for a welcome. Went in anyway, and Harry Catterick kept me waiting 45 minutes outside his office, which wasn't very nice. If I'm coming over to negotiate a deal, I don't expect to see him within minutes, but I do expect to see him within 5 minutes at least. And that didn't go down too well. I wasn't too impressed. I didn't say anything. We didn't negotiate it, and he was nowhere near what I wanted.
You had something in your head.
I had something in my head, and I wasn't going. I was not going to leave without that deal, and he wasn't coming anywhere near it. But the funny thing about it was, I said, well, Mr. Catterick, I'd have to really start thinking about this, and I can't give you an answer now if I was to accept this deal. I said, I'm not happy about accepting this deal, and I'm not so sure it's the deal. It's certainly not the deal that I want.
What age are you at this stage?
I was 24.
24. So if you were a bit younger, maybe you would have just accepted
I might have jumped if I was stupid. I might have jumped. But if I was stupid, I wasn't that stupid. And I said to him, no. He said, well, look, if you sign, then you can go and think about it. That's what he actually said to me. And I said, well, sure, there's nothing to think about if I sign. So I said, no. I said, I'm not signing, and I'm certainly not signing for that deal. So I said, look, if you can get Mr. Cook in and take me back to the airport, or else I'll make me own way back to the airport, get a taxi, whatever. Just I'm out of here. So that night, on the Friday night, Harry Cook, the chief scout, rang me to say he was coming into Dublin on Saturday. And I said, Mr. Cook, there's no point in you coming in tomorrow unless Mr. Catterick has offered me the deal that I want. And he said, no, I don't think it's that. Well, then there's no point in you coming in. He said, no, I'm coming in. So he came in.
Yeah.
And I met him in the Royal St. George Hotel up in Parnell Square. And I said, well, what's the situation? I said, what's the deal? What's the offer? What's on the table now? And he said, oh no, the same. But I said, I told you last night on the phone, don't waste your time coming in here. I'm not signing for that. Now look, I said, I'm not being rude, but I'm playing for Rovers tomorrow against that loan, and I've got to prepare and get myself right for this. So I'm going to go because I'm not going to sign. And then he said, oh, you've been tapped, as if some other club had come in.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I wasn't aware of any other club coming in. And I said, no, I haven't been tapped. I said, nobody's come near me. And I said, the only club that I've been negotiating with is you, but you're not meeting me. You don't even meet me halfway.
Yeah.
And I said, so I'm sorry, I can't sign. I'm gonna stay here, and that's it.
Now, a few days later, Chelsea do come in, so he probably think it is Chelsea are always in.
Yeah, no, not to my knowledge. Maybe Rovers knew something, but I certainly knew nothing about it. And about a week or 10 days, I played in an international match against the Danes up in Dailybound, and I think it was abandoned after 70 minutes or 75 minutes because of fog and so on. And we were at a dinner in the Gresham Hotel, and Ron Seward, the assistant manager at Chelsea, was there. But he only came over and said hello to me, and that was it. But then a few days later, the Cunningham family who own Shamrock Rovers, got in touch with me and said, look, can you come down to the house? And I said, of course, down Anglesey Road. I said, sure, of course. So I said, look, Chelsea are interested in signing you. What do you think? I said, well, I'll see what they have to offer. And I went over to Stamford Bridge, met Ron Seward at Heathrow Airport, and I'm coming down the steps off the plane, and there are about 15 or 18 photographers at the bottom of the steps, and I didn't see anybody famous, any actors or pop stars or whatever, and I'm looking behind.
Royal family.
Oh yeah, so I'm looking behind to see what's going on, and then they said, oh, there he is, and I still look behind. I said, I don't recognise anybody, but it was for me.
Yeah.
Towards there, I couldn't believe that, but that's the way London was, and that's the way England was at that point. So I met Ron Stewart, and I eyeballed him, he eyeballed me, and I said to myself, I'm going to sign for Chelsea, only because of Ron Stewart. I hadn't met Dave Sexton or anybody else at the club, but Ron Stewart. I said, I like the style of this man, I like his handshake, I like his eye contact. I said, right, I'm going to sign. In my mind, never said it to him. I mean, you're chatting gold.
Poker face, yeah.
But went to Stamford Bridge anyway. Met Dave Sexton, signed, and I told him what I would like, and he agreed. And within 20 minutes, I'd signed. But I said to Dave before I signed, I said, Dave, I want to ring Eddie from Manny, because Charlton Athletic had come in the meantime as well, and Theo Foley, an Irish, a Dublin man as well, was the assistant manager at Charlton with Eddie from Manny. So I said, I'd like to ring Eddie from Manny and just tell him that I'm signing for Chelsea and to thank him for his interest. And Dave said, well, if you ring him, you won't sign for me. He thought I was playing one off the other. But I said, I'm not playing one off the other, Dave. I'm going to sign for you, but I just want to ring him out of courtesy, just to thank him for his interest. Yeah. And that's all. And so I said, you can stay here while I'm making the call. Yeah. So there's nothing underhand about it. So I rang. No, he went out. Okay. And I rang Eddie from Manny, just thanked him for his interest. I wished him all the best for the season. I said, I just thanked him. That was it. And then I went out to Dave. Dave said, that's all done now. Now I'll sign. Yeah. So he was pleased with that. He mightn't have been pleased with me later on, but a few years later. But whoever, he was pleased at that moment in time. Anyway.
£17,500 is what Shamrock Rovers got for you. What do you think you'd be worth in the...
God only knows.
Kyle Walker went for 50 million.
You can sort that one out.
Fullbacks are expensive these days. Yeah. But was it daunting then going over to London?
I never thought too much about it because I was thrown straight in at Chelsea. Yeah. Because I that was on a Wednesday. I flew to Newcastle on the Friday because we were playing Newcastle on the Saturday. And I was 12th man on the Saturday. Yeah, I didn't have any time to think about it, so I just went straight into it. Yeah. Now I didn't get on because nobody got injured, nobody was substituted, so I was sitting on the bench. But for me to go straight from playing against that lone town a few weeks previously to being up in Newcastle United, which is a fabulous club, and St James's Park, wonderful stadium, and to be sitting even on the bench It was just heaven. But you don't have time to think about it because you're saying, well, if I get on, will I be able to handle this? Because I'm going straight from League of Ireland football straight into First Division football, which is now the Premier League. And I wasn't asked that question that afternoon anyway, but a few weeks later I was.
What did you feel though, sitting on the bench watching the likes of Ron Chopper Harris and Peter Osgood?
And Eddie McCready diving in and missing tackles.
Yeah. Bobby Tamlin was still
diving in from about 30 yards out when you could do that in those days. And see Osgood and Hutchinson and John Hollins and Peter Bonetti and goal. And I'd watched these lads 2 weeks previously on Match of the Day.
Yeah.
And here I am in a dressing room with them. And you're sort of in awe, but you can't let them see that you're in awe because you've got a job to do if you're called upon. Yeah. But even if you're not called upon, you still have to concentrate on the match, and in case you had to go on to know exactly what you're doing. So no, it was a wonderful, wonderful experience, and certainly a wonderful time in my life, no question about that.
So how long before you make your major debut against Manchester City?
Manchester City, came on as a sub against City, and I was brilliant for 5 minutes. I touched the ball about twice, so I didn't make any mistakes, luckily enough. But no, it was. I always found that coming off the bench, because everybody else has a feel for the game, I'm coming off the bench with about maybe 10 minutes to go, or maybe less, and the game is well and truly boiling down at that stage, and you're going in totally cold.
Yeah.
So your first concentration is don't make any mistakes under any circumstances. Don't give the ball away. Don't get caught in possession. Win your headers. Win your tackles. Just don't make any mistakes, and have your concentration levels at a real high, as if you're playing for the 90 minutes. And that's the way you have to. That's the way you have to approach it. That's the way I approach it. Unfortunately, I think it was a draw. Or did we win 1-0? I can't quite remember what it was, but anyway, I didn't make any horrendous mistakes anyway. Which was,
so what time of the season? That's kind of October.
That was about October. Yeah, October, November. I played about. I think I played about 8 or 9 or maybe 10 matches between then and the end of the season, and Bobby Tamlin told me only a few months ago.
Because he lived in Cork.
Yeah, that Sexton was very, very superstitious. And in the cup run, he said to me, Paddy, he said, you were never going to play in the cup in any of the rounds. And I said, why is that, Tambo? This is only a few months back.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tambo, 50 years later nearly. Because Dave was superstitious. And I knew that because I used to sit beside him on the bench at the cup matches. And so he never even had me as 12th man.
Yeah.
But then in the cup final on the Friday before the cup final against Leeds, Dave came to me and there was a doubt about Ronnie Harris, and I knew Ronnie Harris would play because Ronnie Harris would play even if his leg was broken. That was just the style of player that he was, and the type of person that he was. And Dave said to me, look, if Ronnie fails the fitness test, you'll be 12th man tomorrow. He said, are you happy? I said, happy? I said, I want to play. I never mind being happy with it. So I'm not happy being on the bench, but I said, look, I'll take that. Happy days, great stuff. But that didn't materialise because Harris played Marvin Hinton, another good pal of mine at Chelsea, and Marvin was 12th man that day against Leeds at Wembley.
It's a famous final for...
Well, the replay was... Well, the first game was bad enough, but the replay was just horrendous.
Yeah, well, the pitch in the first one was awful.
Oh, they only had a horse show on the Wednesday.
Yeah.
At Wembley, before the FA Cup final on a Saturday. That goes to show the lack of respect and thinking that was going on, even at Wembley. And I've been looking like from a schoolboy at Home Farm, I've been wishing to play at Wembley. And Joe Fitzpatrick, my former manager at Home Farm, said to me after a game against John Bosco out in Pearse Park, out in Crumlin, he said to me one Sunday, he said, you will play at Wembley. And I said, no, that won't happen. But here I am. Okay, I'm not playing, but I'm in there. I played 2 years later in the League Cup final for Chelsea at Wembley. But I mean, that's every schoolboy's dream. Anybody who has any ambition at all, that has to be your dream, to go and play at Wembley. Even today, don't care what anybody says. It's a wonderful, wonderful stadium, and the FA Cup is still a magnificent occasion.
So that finished 2-2.
That finished 2-2. Yeah.
After extra time. So the replay.
I don't know how we got. I don't know how we got to 2-2.
Yeah.
I don't know how Chelsea got to 2-2 that day.
Well, they scored
because they were so far ahead of us, and the replay at Old Trafford on 2 weeks later.
What would the replay have been played in Wembley if the pitch was better? Do you think, or was it always going to be in Old Trafford?
No, I think it was going to be in Old Trafford.
Yeah, okay.
Or maybe Hillsborough, but probably Old Trafford because that was a common denominator there. I mean, Leeds is only about, 30 or 40 miles from Old Trafford, where London, of course, is about 120. But look at it, I think Old Trafford is going to be the selection anyway.
So, that in mind, you mentioned like Leeds was very close to Old Trafford. You're travelling up. Was that something in the minds of the Chelsea players going up that day, think we'll show them that these lads from the south aren't southern softies? As
it probably worked in reverse for Leeds, because you probably hit the nail on the head there, Phil, with saying that we're not going to show that we're softies, and there were some cracking matches in every sense of the word with Chelsea and Leeds at that time, because Leeds wouldn't have thought that Chelsea were sort of the poster boys, if you like, and this is what that was their perception. Yeah, but it wasn't. That wasn't the case at all. Yes, there's always a few fellas who are a little bit flashing who want to go and do stuff, but by and large, we had a very, very good squad of players, and reasonably dedicated. Not as much as I would have liked to have seen, but however, and I would have thought that Leeds were out and out favourites, and for the first 20 minutes, we never got over the halfway line. Leeds had so much possession and knocking the ball around, and it looks as if this could be a hiding. If they get a goal, this could be a hiding. Yeah. But then Chelsea, we came into the game, and then Leeds were being asked the questions, and then the tackles started flying around, and Ronnie Harris had caught Eddie Gray a few times, and Eddie wouldn't be the bravest.
He'd been moved to right back for the replay.
That's right. Yeah, David Webb got a chasing on the Saturday.
Yeah.
On the previous Saturday in the drawn game, and he got an awful chase. He just hadn't got a clue. But David Webb wasn't a full back. David Webb was a centre half. Yeah. And it was unfair of Dave to go and pick him at right back, because the right back, full backs are really specialised positions, and in Webby's case, he didn't know, he couldn't get any of his angles right, good, bad, or indifferent. Just one of those days. But when you're in centre half against Leeds in the replay, well, he's a different man, as he would be, because that's his natural position. So Harris put it up to Eddie Gray, and
way of putting it.
And Eddie wouldn't be the bravest, but Eddie was a very, very skillful player, and if you gave him any space at all, he'd tear you apart. Yeah. So the space was denied one way or another by Harris, and then Leeds started getting tetchy and getting edgy, and the tackles went flying in, and there were some horrendous tackles that I don't know how anybody didn't get a red card, but it was absolutely crazy.
The famous one is McCready's flying kick on Billy Bremner.
Oh yeah. I mean, he was in the air. Yeah. It was a kung fu. I mean, Eric Cantona has won, and Crystal Palace is only in the halfpenny place. This was the real deal. There's no question about that. Wave play on, and that was it.
Well, you know, David Ellery famously said in the late 90s that watching the game back, if he was in charge, he would have given 6 reds and 20 yellows.
No, he wouldn't have given 6 reds and 20 yellows if he was in charge, because he would have been crucified.
But I think now in the modern game,
I wouldn't have allowed.
The game would have been abandoned.
The game was gone.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, you'd have been taken off. But funnily enough, in the October of that year, at Stamford Bridge, we played them, and I played in that game in the league, and that was worse than the cup final.
Yeah.
That was the most vicious game that I played in England or Ireland. The next one would have been in Chile for Ireland against Chile down in Chile in '74. But that one in Stamford Bridge in the October of 1970.
But you probably knew that was coming, though.
Oh yeah, we expected it.
Yeah,
you know, and we weren't going to give up.
Yeah,
and it ended up 0-0. It was the most entertaining 0-0 you'll ever come across.
You'll ever come time kicking each other and trying to kick the ball into the goal.
It was incredible. It was incredible.
Any scars from it?
No. Luckily enough, I saw a few tackles coming. I got out of it.
So winning the cup in '70 was obviously a great achievement for Chelsea. To beat such a great Leeds team means you go into the Cup Winners' Cup the following season. Yeah. And City have won the Cup Winners' Cup in 1970. So this is like English clubs are doing well in Europe.
We're dominating. Yeah. At that stage.
The season itself,
and they had a magnificent team. Manchester City. Yeah. That's like Mike Summerby, Francis Lee, Mike Doyle. Yeah. Colin Bell. Forget about it. I mean, Joe Mercer and Malcolm Allison. Joe Mercer is the manager, Malcolm Allison is the coach. Yeah.
Colin Bell,
they were a magnificent team.
Stand named after him.
Oh, magnificent. What a player he was.
Yeah. He was voted City's all-time great.
No question about it. And Mike Summerby wide on the right was Franny Lee up front. Bundle of energy, and what a sniffer, what a goal scorer.
So, I know that season you picked up a hamstring injury during that season.
I picked up a hamstring against CSK Sofia in the October, November. We had beaten them in Sofia. The first time they'd been beaten, I think, at 8 years. At home, and we beat them 1-0. And we were in the second leg at the bridge. The keeper threw the ball out to their left winger, and I had gone and stretched and intercepted it and went to go on. I just heard the whole left leg went. And I never forget Doc Marshall, when I hobbled into the dressing room, and Doc Marshall was there to evaluate the injury. And he says, it is serious. As if I was coming off for the sake of it. And then the mistake that I made, and maybe the mistake that the medical team made as well, was that I was getting back too quickly. And I kept breaking down. And I didn't return until the March. That's an awful that's an awful long time in a professional footballer's career.
It must seem like an age.
To be out for 5 months, and you've got nothing to look forward to.
No.
Except go into the ground every day, and you're like a lunatic, because there's no progress. You think there's progress, then you get out in a reserve team game, it's gone after 20 minutes, and it was just so. That's the worst time for a professional footballer, to be injured, because there's nothing you can do, not a thing can you do, except go in and get your treatment and hope that everything is coming right. Now today, with all the scanning and so on, you would have been back maybe in about a month, or maybe even less, because of the treatment.
Well, you wouldn't have been rushed back either, because they wouldn't let you back.
They wouldn't let you back, so the specialist treatment would have been there. But look, it wasn't there, and you deal with it. And then you get back and you get back into the team, and I play against City in the second leg at Main Road, as it was then.
So that was a semi-final?
That was a semi-final, and we go and we beat them on aggregate. I think it was 2-1 we beat them on aggregate.
I have it down as 2-1-0 wins.
2-1-0 wins. 2-0 on aggregate. We beat them 1-0 at the bridge and then 1-0. But Keith Weller took a corner in Main Road from the right, and Ron Healy, I think, was the goalkeeper for City. He just threw it into the net. Just missed the ball completely and palmed it into the net. That gave us the 1-0 win, and that was a great win to go and beat City. That was a wonderful win.
Yeah, well, you're into the final then, but not only have you beaten City, you've beaten the reigning champions. It was a great competition, the Cup Winners' Cup.
It was a wonderful competition at that time, and it gave everybody a huge boost, and everybody wanted to play in it.
Yeah,
and that was the beauty of it. Whereas now they're a bit choosy. It's the Champions League or nothing.
Yeah,
so I think Europa League is nothing.
Yeah, and that's how it doesn't get serious till the latter stages.
No, and it doesn't get any type of the coverage that the Champions League is going to get.
So the final, Real Madrid, it's in Greece.
In Athens,
In Athens, and it's a Wednesday night. Looks like you're about to win it. 1-0 up. You get on for the...
I think it was the last 20 minutes. John Hollands got injured. And we just basically fell asleep for their equalising goal. And takes it to a replay on the Friday night.
This is what I love about it.
This is great.
There was extra time.
There was extra time,
first game, but obviously no penalties.
No penalties, and then it went to a replay, and the replay was on the Friday night.
So you have to hang around Greece for.
You're there, and there was no hardship because you're in a cup final. You're in a Cup Winners' Cup final, so you couldn't care less.
I was just looking at the
all
attendance.
You want to do is play.
The attendance, obviously.
It dropped. I'd say dramatically for the replay.
Yeah.
A lot of the supporters, Chelsea supporters, had to go home. A few of them came to the hotel, and we made a collection. Players amongst ourselves made a collection to make sure the lads who wanted to stay, that they stayed, and we looked after them to stay in a hotel and get their flights back as well, which is the right thing to do because they'd worked hard and paid hard-earned money to come out.
What did you do in the couple of days? I'm saying there's a few of the players that were quite happy to be in Greece for a couple of days.
A few of the lads, I don't know how we won the replay because a few of the lads drank all day on the Thursday.
Yeah,
and it was crazy stuff. So there's no logic in football whatsoever. None. When I saw that and I saw us win the Cup Winners' Cup on the Friday night, there's no logic goes out the window here because we shouldn't have been within an ass's roar of Real Madrid. But we were. And they were probably more mentally tired than physical than what we were. Because we were even on the Thursday, we were ready for them.
Yeah.
Even though lads were misbehaving, very much so misbehaving.
Yeah.
A few of them, not all of them, but a few. But we, Chelsea football team, we got ourselves right for the game, and John Dempsey scored a miraculous goal. And funnily enough, it was something that we'd practiced in training. We did it every few days in training, and it was a corner kick, and Dempsey said, hover around the 18-yard box and hope that it might just come his way. And it came his way. Yeah. And he just volleyed it into the roof net. A magnificent goal. He couldn't have struck. Ozzy couldn't have struck it better. Maradona couldn't have struck it better. It was just a magnificent goal to win it 2-1.
What was it like then afterwards?
Oh,
you've been in dressing rooms before.
Oh yeah, this was a wonderful occasion.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely magnificent. Because it was for many people too. It was so unexpected. I mean, you're playing the great Real Madrid. Right, they weren't as good as the previous Real Madrid teams, but they're still a force to be reckoned with. And we go and we beat them after a replay. No, it just doesn't get any better than that. It's like beating Kerry in an All-Ireland football final, or beating Dublin these days in an All-Ireland football final. That you've really earned it, and that was it. And they the great Hento, who was still a survivor from the 56 to 60 team that won 5 European Cups in succession from Real Madrid. No, they had a very, very good team, but they ran out of legs in the end, and we were much stronger physically and mentally.
You touched on it earlier in the interview that you had played at Wembley, so you played in a League Cup final against Stoke.
In 72 against Stoke. Yeah. I got injured in the first half.
Unfortunately,
is right.
Bad tackle.
Awful tackle. He would have been gone today.
Yeah.
Mike Pedgitt was the left back, and I had gone to their end line and tried to whip it across, and he caught me. He caught me very, very late, right off on the right ankle, and the ankle was up like a balloon. But Dave Sexton had no plan B because he said, "Paddy, no, you have to get out." Dave, I can't.
Yeah.
Said, look at the ankle. I can't walk. Never mind run. I said, I'll get out there, but I said, you're going to be down to 10 men. I said, it's not worth it. I can't do it.
Yeah.
Now the ankle was out, obviously like a balloon, and I went to the Great Ormond Street Hospital that night. Doc Marshall brought me down, put in plaster, and lucky enough, I'm a quick healer, and within 10 days, the following Thursday week, I had a fitness test for, funnily enough, against Manchester City, again in Main Road. And I came through the fitness test on the Thursday, and then I played on the Saturday. So I was very lucky. On some occasions, I was a quick healer. With that, I was a very quick healer.
Hamstrings are different there.
Hamstring, well, it can go any time. But the ankle was a bad knock, and that was it. And all the bruising, of course, came out, which is always a good sign because it means that it's
on the mend.
It's on the mend. It's going to heal a bit better.
Dave Sexton obviously went on to manage Manchester United. What was he like as a manager? Dave
was a very, very good coach, but to me he was not a good man management manager, not at all. Because he just for example, he called me in one day to say that I was drinking too much, and I just said, "Well, Dave, yeah, you know your players well, don't you?" "Yes," he said, "I pride myself on that." Well, I said, "I don't drink, Dave." I said, "I've never drunk."
So where did he get it from?
And I said, "And where's all this coming from? Where's it all leading to?" I said, "The people that you should be calling in, you're not calling in. So you call in the Irishman who doesn't drink, and his name happens to be Paddy, and we'll take the easy option here, will we?" Now we both of us weren't quite as calm as it is now, and he was shouting and I was shouting, and Chris Matthews, the secretary of the club, first female secretary of an English football club, she was outside, and she told me after, I thought he was going to hit you. I thought you were going to hit him. You're gone, you're gone. Yeah. And I said, "Don't worry about it, Chris, we'll be all right." And one word borrowed another. Well, I said, "Dave," I said, "I don't drink, and if you want Doc Marshall to come and have a urine test or a blood test, whatever you want to do, any time of the day or night, you just let him come into me." He says, "No problem, but I don't drink." And Dave was odd like that, and with me.
Yeah.
In 1970, he came to me and said, "I'm going up as far as Piccadilly, I'll buy a shirt. Do you want to come with me?" I said, "No, not particularly, but do you want me to go?" He said, yeah, come with me. So I went. He starts giving me an ear bashing about getting married. I said, "I don't want to get married. What do you want to get married for?" He said, "Are you proposing to me?" So what do you want to get married for? Because I wouldn't take him serious. Because I was getting married. I said, Dave, I have a career here ahead of me. I said, that's my focus.
Yeah.
I said, not getting married. I said, no. I said, forget about it, Dave. Now, you let me off at Regent's Park and I'll get the tube back, or I'll get a taxi back to the bridge, because I'm going to listen to this, I'm not going to Piccadilly with you. It's as simple as that. And so I said, no, okay. Oh, you know, and I, for a man who signed me and who saw, obviously he saw something in me, start behaving like that. I don't know where the agenda came from at all, because you would have, you know, I would have behaved myself right from a Monday or Tuesday onwards. I'd be in bed by 8:30, 9 o'clock. Yeah, up for training the following day, preparing for the Saturday. Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. And I loved that. I always loved the start of the season, because you're playing on a Tuesday or a Wednesday and a Saturday. So the training, you'd done all your hard work in the pre-season, so your training was cut back, and it's much better playing games than just training. And I just always loved that time of the year in those days. But
had that anything to do with you leaving Chelsea?
Oh yeah, it had a lot to do with it.
I think he didn't.
It had a lot to do with me leaving. I remember being in Brazil in '72 with the Irish team playing the mini World Cup tournament. Yeah. And I played nearly the whole season, and I had a good season. And we're walking up the beach in Recife with Mick Leach, my former colleague at Shamrock Rovers, and we were chatting away. He said, God, you had a very good season. Yeah, I said, I did well, but I said, I'll be gone before Christmas. He doesn't want me at the club. Yeah. I said, really? No, he doesn't want me at the club. I said, I'm too much hard work for him. I said, because I'll question. Yeah. I'll question things with him. So other lads won't, but I will question things. And I certainly had to tell him the story I just told you, Phil, about the drink situation. He said, but you never... I said, I know that. But that's the pettiness that was coming into the relationship. Yeah. I said, that's no good. And surely enough, on the October, I was gone to Palace, which was my fault as well, in that I made a bad decision. With all due respect to Crystal Palace Football Club, it was a bad decision at the wrong time. As Dave, I was in training that morning, and Dave rang me. And I said to Dave, well, what are you ringing me for? You're not ringing to see how I am, because I'm fine. And he said, his words were, which irked me, shouldn't have, but it did. He said, we've agreed a fee with Crystal Palace, but I don't want you. But you don't have. Oh yeah, but you don't have to go. But I said, why did you agree a fee then? If he'd rephrased it, I would have been fine. Yeah. But I'm not blaming him fully. I should have seen the light, and I didn't. But I was so fed up with what had gone on as regards accusing me of the alcohol and so on, and I said to myself, no, this isn't working, and that was the worst footballing move that I ever made.
Leaving Chelsea.
Yeah, was going to Crystal Palace. Oh yeah, no doubt about it. Charlie Cook and myself went, and the two of us were stupid. I was certainly very stupid, agreeing to go to Palace. And I knew when I went down to the ground, the first day of training, I knew, because I said to myself, what am I doing here? And as I said that, I met John Yogi Bear Hughes, who had played for Glasgow Celtic, and he was at Palace. And his opening words were really of great comfort to me. What is a good player like you doing here? I'll never forget it. That's what he said to me. And if I put my head in my hands, I probably would have dropped my head. Yeah, it was crazy stuff. But look, you go and you deal with it, and you hope for the best. And it just didn't work out like that, because at Palace we got relegated 2 years in succession from the first division to the second to the third. Now that is failure with a capital F. Yeah, that is. It's horrible. Yeah, it's horrible. It really is. You feel a failure as a man. You feel a failure in your profession, and you feel a failure in your personal life. Yeah, because that takes over everything. Because it has to, because that's your profession. So it has to. And it was very, very bad. But it was a good learning curve as well. You always learn stuff from it as well. But through all the bad times, you learn stuff as well. So my next move up to West Brom was pretty decent. Okay, well, I like your positivity. We'll leave it there. Paddy Mulligan, a pleasure to talk to you as always. Thank you, Phil. Great insight into what it was like in that Chelsea dressing room during the cup winning days. It was even better. Thank you, Phil. Thanks, Paddy.